Watcher 1 to Bravo 07. You in position?
Nearly there.
In 5 years' time, when we discuss Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, there will be no confusion as to which of the two games that share that name people are referring to. Thanks to a lackluster story, fumbled mechanical innovations, and largely underwhelming mission design, this year's Call of Duty campaign is graphically impressive, but otherwise an unfortunate misfire that fails to live up to standards set by not only its unforgettable 2009 namesake, but also its 2019 predecessor. While its gunplay remains state-of-the-art, and there are some welcome but all too brief attempts to tread new ground, Modern Warfare 2's campaign relies too much on echoing the victories of Call of Duty's past, rather than establishing its own triumphs. The 6-hour campaign whisks you away from Call of Duty Modern Warfare's Middle Eastern front lines and drops you into Mexico for the majority of its run. That's thanks to the addition of the Las Almas drug cartel to the list of foes, who fulfill the exact same tired stereotypical roles that you've seen everywhere from Ghost Recon Wildlands to Bad Boys. They're heavily embroiled in a plot that involves an Iranian arms deal, stolen US missiles, and the interplay between multiple nations' special forces. The quality of this story is a substantial step down from its predecessor, where Modern Warfare examine the human stories that emerge from military occupation and lightly assess sacrificing a piece of your own morality in order to protect the civilian world. Modern Warfare 2 is more interested in broader, shallower action. The result is paper-thin, gung-ho characters and a conclusion that can be predicted from barely 30 minutes in. Expect less Catherine Bigelow and more Michael Bay vibes for this chapter.
Sinker, that's what I'm talking about, Shadows! You know I love that shit!
That doesn't mean there are not some more immediate, base-level thrills to be found while powering through that story though. As ever, Call of Duty is on the cutting edge of graphics technology, and so looks incredibly handsome from practically every angle. While Mexico has plenty of lovely vistas, a brief visit to Amsterdam really demonstrates Modern Warfare 2's graphical grunt, thanks to impeccable attention to detail and gorgeous lighting effects. Likewise, as you'd expect from Call of Duty, the shooting is also pulled straight from the top shelf. Weapon handling is precise and punchy, and the visual, physical, and particularly audio feedback is in a league most FPS games can only dream of. Praise should certainly be laid on the sniper and assault rifles in particular, which feel the best they ever have. There's a seemingly never-ending collection of weapons to pick up, each of which feels distinct in feedback and form, although rarely does the mission design favour one type over another to the point that different gun categories can feel interchangeable. Modern Warfare 2 doubles down on the smaller, more realistically sized combat engagements of its predecessor. This makes for a Call of Duty campaign with a distinct rhythm. There's much more methodical room clearing than there is taking part in large-scale chaotic battles. This helps cement an identity for the rebooted Modern Warfare series, but comes at the expense of the intensity that has fueled some of the original game's most memorable shootouts. I'd be more welcoming of this change if it weren't for the addition of armoured enemies, who must have their helmets or vests shattered before you're able to land the killing blow. They initially feel like fun curveballs, but quickly become annoying bullet sponges that not only erode the efficiency of Call of Duty's long-standing double tap to kill approach, but also shatters any of the realism those smaller encounters are attempting to build. Mission design is, as you'd expect, admirably varied and often built upon a novel concept. Those that fall back on more standard templates feel underwhelming and often quite static, with multiple hold-the-line objectives and other such generic fare, although these are thankfully outnumbered by levels with better purpose. But while most of developer Infinity Ward's campaigns have had a poster child mission, All Gilled Up, No Russian and Clean House just to name 3, Modern Warfare 2 struggles to make anything quite as memorable. Its best attempt is Alone, a stealth level in which you must escape a labyrinth-like town packed with guards. Starting completely unarmed, you gather materials and craft a variety of DIY tools, smoke bombs, trip mines, lock-breaking gizmos, and use them to work your way to the exit.
Shadow.
This has all the makings of a star Call of Duty mission, but is frustratingly undermined by the fact that your character is injured and can only walk at a snail's pace. It makes weaving between guard patrols a chore, and its 40-minute duration seem like a lifetime. Elsewhere, there's an unwieldy car chase that's a poor alternative to Uncharted 4's Showstopper, and a brief but fun infiltration of a cartel boss's mansion that has a very light Hitman touch about it, as your disguised soldier rubs shoulders with enemies. But the majority of Modern Warfare 2 is content to relive past glories. There are 2 back-to-back missions that replicate the original Modern Warfare's Death from Above, in which you rain down all manner of high-caliber ammunition from a circling gunship. Another sees you storm a cargo ship in an echo of crew expendable, while yet another is, of course, the copied homework of all gillied up, right down to the hiding in the grass as enemies walk by. Then there's the multiple references to 2019's Clean House, which have you slowly walking upstairs behind two allies whenever the opportunity arises. It makes for something that feels a bit like a best-of album, performed by a different, less confident band. That's not to say there's no merit or fun in these covers. The gunship missions demand much more precision than their inspiration, thanks to targets often being close to civilians, and there's a more deliberate feeling in how you use each of the plane's 3 ammunition types. Dark Waters, the cargo ship level, makes great use of moving cover as containers slip and slide across the wet deck. And Recon by Fire, the sniping mission, provides you with a backpack filled with various tools that provide a greater degree of tactical choice when it comes to clearing buildings. Will you breach the doors with explosives and fight inside, or drop a tear gas grenade down a ventilation shaft to force your enemies out into the open? I would have liked to have seen that backpack system used across the entire campaign. While I believe that Call of Duty's strengths are firmly in linear scenario design, Recon by Fire demonstrates Infinity Ward absolutely has the ability to weave some choice into encounters, but it's sadly just one of a number of mechanics that feel included to be a momentary novelty rather than the basis of something richer. It's joined by an armor plate system that's used for a single mission, seemingly as a nod to Warzone rather than for any tactical benefit. Had both mechanics been woven into the fabric of the campaign as a whole, then the moment-to-moment could potentially have been elevated with a layer of micro-decisions. Maybe that would have made fighting those groups of bullet sponges more pleasant. As a final note, Modern Warfare 2's campaign is also a little buggier than I'd expect of a Call of Duty. Performance is consistently slick, but whilst playing on PlayStation 5, I have seen occasional ugly low-res textures on some things like water. I also encountered a save corruption bug at the final checkpoint of the last mission, which triggered a hard crash every time it loaded, and so I was forced to replay the mission from the start. These are by no means game-breaking, but are minor irritants all the same. Call of Duty shooting is once again in a prestige class of its own, which means Modern Warfare 2's campaign always manages to operate on a minimum quality bar that delivers a satisfying punch. But beyond each thunderous pull of the trigger is an underwhelming story and level designs that are too concerned with replicating the successes of previous campaigns rather than embracing its own good ideas for more than a single mission apiece. In the areas it does innovate, it almost always stumbles, although there does remain some enjoyment to be taken in its momentary flashes of inspiration. Overall though, this is a sadly lackluster follow-up to Modern Warfare 2019's refined take on a Call of Duty campaign, and an experience that's already fading in my memory. For more, check out our reviews of Gotham Knights and A Plague Tale Requiem, and for everything else, stick with IGN.